Check out what Frank just got. Welcome back, Troglodytes, to your daily dose of guitar information, the Trogly's Guitar Show. So our tale starts today with Frank booking a help session with me to look at a used R8 to make sure, everything was legit. And then through the course of actions, we ended up new guitar daying this absolutely gorgeous R9 from Sweetwater. It's funny how things like that happen sometimes. He was initially looking at a plain top, but then when he started to think about the money, he's like, well, maybe I would like a crazy one of these. So I did a little bit of hunting to find the best dirty lemon burst, and this is what I came up with. And I think we did pretty good. What do you guys think? I love the whole dark streaking. It has a very, very mild, almost chevron pattern to it, but not too much. But most importantly, I've reviewed a lot of reissues, and this one just looks different than most of them. And that's why I'm pretty excited to review this. We just recently reviewed a first-year custom shop reissue, 1993, so now we get to check out a 2024, the latest. Well, I suppose we should check our serial. All right, this one's a 2023, but close enough. But besides our awesome top, what I'm noticing is it looks like the custom shop is cooling off on how heavy they put the aniline dyes on it, because this is nowhere near as extreme of a red color where it gets binding bleed. And yes, you can argue that's, historic spec. The originals did that as well before they all faded out. But I don't know, personally, I've just never really been a big fan of these super heavy aniline dyes, so this looks nice to my eyes. But if you're new here and you're confused, what on earth is an R9? It's a 1959 reissue Les Paul. So if you want to play a burst but not mortgage your house to buy one, this is what you go for. It's the closest thing that the custom shop makes yet today. Now, I don't think there's been any huge changes spec-wise since 2019 when they revamped things and slightly tilted logos. But how does this differ from a 50s Gibson USA standard? Well, you're going to have the long neck tenon. You've got the historic plastics on it. They're a little bit thicker and made of different materials. You'll have the higher end pickups, the tortoiseshell colored side marker inlays, the more accurate neck profile. And it's just all the very small nitty gritty details. If you're not into history, honestly, the 50s standards are plenty good guitars, but if you enjoy history and making it look like a burst, that's why so many people go after R9s. It also helps that you get the cool Lifton reissue style case, just like the originals came in. Brown exterior, pink interior, and yep, you get a COA and all that good stuff when you make your way into the custom shop, as well as reissue hang tags. But a brand new 50 standard is going to run you about $3,000 plus or minus, depending if you want faded finish or plus top, etc. And a custom shop R9 like this is going to run you about $6,700. So it's the law of diminishing returns. Both are great guitars. I have custom shops and Gibson USAs in my collection. Do I think the custom shops are just a little bit better and they have a certain feel to them? Yes, but that doesn't mean USAs are crap. They're different and both good, is the best way to put it. Don't become an elitist to the custom shop, because Gibson USA makes some great stuff too. So now that we've chatted a little bit, let's go ahead and throw this one on the workbench to take an individual look at its parts and specs. Well, now the top looks different over here. I no longer see the chevron pattern. It's all pretty much straight. It's just crazy. Right here, that's what it looks like. Over here, it's a very active top. It kind of reminds me of a desert scroll that has secret writing on it that appears and goes away. But let's go ahead and dive into our pickups. It just says patent applied for on the back. Both of these are custom Bucker Alnico 3s. But within the circuit, these pickups are reading 7.87 k ohms in the bridge, 7.83 in the neck, and the middle, just for fun, 3.92. Here you can see the long neck tenon construction we were talking about earlier, as well as where the maple top joins onto that solid mahogany body. Pretty nice routes. The bridge is an ABR1. Just remember, it doesn't have the retaining wire, so you gotta be careful, but it has that branding on the back. Then, as per 59 spec, a lightweight aluminum tailpiece. And here's another difference between the Gibson USA and the custom shop. They have a traditionally mounted ABR1 with a post in the body and no bushings. But you might notice you've got some patina built up to your hardware. That is part of the VOS finish. And I'm not sure if this is indicative of all current VOS finishes, but this is a very, very extremely light treatment. You see this haziness right here? That's what that is. Essentially, it's kind of like a buffing compound, but they just leave it on the guitar. So if you hate VOS because it gives you the light scratches and this haze, you can polish it off if you want. But there are ranks above this level of Les Paul reissue. If you want to pay an extra, $2,000 to $3,000 for varying degrees of aging by the factory. This is just your good old base VOS model. Here's a quick look at our pickguard. You can tell it's got some similar rusting to it, especially on the back. Now I'm curious, what do you think? Is this a pickguard on or off type of guitar? Here it is with it off. Here it is with it on. It's kind of tricky. Usually I'm a pickguard on kind of guy, but I think this top has very greeny-like elements to it. So we could just flip this around. Oh man, that's mean of the custom shop. It's just not long enough to do that. You have to buy their greenie bunkers. So there you go. If you're trying to save yourself some money off of the 20K greenie by buying one of these, just know you might have to extend your lead just a hair or put your own custom pickups in it. But moving on from our two-piece maple top and solid mahogany body, you've got that mahogany neck with a regular rosewood fretboard. Currently, there is a limited edition of 250 Brazilian rosewood fretboards out there, so those are just a little bit more expensive than this. It's just fun to document all the options. But other things that are different as compared to Gibson USA in this, the style of inlays and the material that they use, this is not mother of pearl. That's a very common misconception. People think all custom shops get pearl. No, it's just the Les Paul Customs. And it's your 24 3/4 inch scale length with 12 inch fretboard radius. We've got a nut width of 1, the number of the beast, 2.045 at the 12th, 0.89 first fret neck depth, and an even 1 at the 12th. Here's a look at that neck profile, 1st fret and 12th fret. Very rounded here, but then widens up just a bit. Nice and full though. 59 profiles are known as the in-between kind of Goldilocks. If you want something bigger, you get the R8. If you want something slimmer, you get the 1960 V3. Here's our headstock. Everything's looking good here, including our truss rod and vintage style cover and our Gibson mother of pearl logo with silk screen. Oh, we've got it strung back up. Before we move to the back, I figured out what I like about this top. It's these little bits right here. It looks similar to spalting, and like sometimes the really tight flame almost has some quilt characteristics, which also kind of pulls off some bird's eye-like vibes. So this just is like a blending of the 4 main figuring types. That's why it's so cool. I especially like this area right here too, even if it does get hidden a little bit behind the pickguard. And now moving on to the back, let's go ahead and check out our control cavity. Here's how they were doing it in late 2023. You've got your deluxe Bumblebee capacitors, your Gibson branded pots, all wired up 50s style. Solder joints are looking very nice. Although our R9 stamp is a little bit offset, usually it's like really nice and centered right there. That's some really pale maple coloring right there. And there's our historic output jack plate and strap buttons in our usual location. And this was the medallion that they were using. I'm honestly surprised these have lasted as long as they have. We are going on a decade now. When I first saw those things introduced around 2014, I thought, nah, for sure, that's just like limited edition type stuff. But at least they change it up and make it new. I really like this one, especially on the reverse Silverburst Flying V, because it kind of matches its color scheme. Got some really nice tight mahogany wood grain on this one. It's a one-piece body. And over here you can see the thin binding in the cutaway. And some more wood grain just for fun. Very wavy grain over here. There we go, we've got a little bit of binding bleed over here, but nowhere near as much as we have been seeing. Going up the back of the neck, I would almost make the argument they didn't put enough stain on this one, but at the same time that's kind of cool because as you play it, it also kind of starts to wear away. On the vintage examples anyways, you can see stuff like that. So it has a slightly worn in look to it, which is probably what they're going for. That's everyone's favorite game. Was it intentional or not? But here's our serial, 934123. So that means this was the 4,123rd R9 made that particular year. That's a pretty good amount of R9s. They're selling these things like hotcakes. But for our weight, what's with the triple digits on this guitar? Just a hair over 8.5 pounds, which is not too bad, but I would argue that the body's a little bit heavier, so it feels like it weighs more than that. But let's go ahead, plug this guitar in, and hear how it sounds. What do you think? I thought it sounded pretty good. Nice vintage tones. You can also do a little bit of metal if you have the right amp for it. So thank you, Frank, for sharing your guitar with us and entrusting me to find you a very nice example. If you're interested in doing the New Guitar Day purchase program, where you can see your brand new guitar reviewed on the show before you get it, you can find more information out on my website, troglysguitarshow.com. I think he's going to be pleased with this one, but hey, I hope you enjoy your newfound guitar knowledge. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you tomorrow on the next one. Take care. If you enjoyed tonight's episode, consider subscribing. I post videos like this every day, and you might even enjoy this next one.